If you ever watch Whiskey Tube and get these high expectations for a bottle, you pick it up, you bring it home, and it's just not what you expected? We're going to share our real thoughts on some of these bottles. Hi friends, I'm Laura, this is Troy, we're Baker Drinks, and we've got 5 brands of bottles that we are going to tell you what we really think about them after we heard great things about them.
Some of them lived up to the hype, some of them didn't. We're gonna let you know what we think.
So first on our list, again, these are in no particular order, it's just a list, is the Remus Repeal. Specifically, Batch 5 has been blown away with how people have reacted to it. I mean, everyone was hunting it. It was crazy. I just happened to walk into Total Wine and I saw it on the shelf and I texted Troy and I was like, is this a bottle that people keep talking about? It looks familiar. And he's like, pick it up.
The whole whiskey world lost their mind over Remus Repeal Reserve number 5. I think number 6, they were kind of let down after the experience they had with 5. And then 7, again, they all started liking again. They said Remus is back. Honestly, for us, it's good whiskey. I don't think it was worth losing your mind over. I mean, these are coming in, I think we paid around $100 for the 5, maybe like $115 for the 7, $120, something like that.
It definitely wasn't something that I was like, we have to get a backup of. We're like, it's pretty good. I probably would have never put it on a list of amazing whiskeys. It, for some reason, doesn't hit me the same way as it hits other people. It's like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so Ross and Squibb put some good transparency on the bottle. They talk about how old the whiskey is. They talk about like the mash bill or the percent rye in the mash bill and what percent of each of those blends is in them. You know, they're coming in at 100 proof. It's a cool presentation. It's a cool bottle. So there's some old whiskey blended into this, but I mean, people rave about the flavor. They were like, this is amazing. It's the best whiskey ever. And it's good. It really is. The Batch 7 made it into our Advent last year and it lost in the first round.
But it's good.
But it's good. It's not $120 good, guys. Don't overspend for these. Don't lose your mind chasing them. There's better whiskey out there in that range. When Batch 8 comes out, are we gonna look for it? Probably not, but if I see it on the shelf and it's still in that $100 to $15, $120 range, I'll consider grabbing it just because, you know, maybe that'll be the one that blows my socks off. I don't know. I'm kind of a tater that way.
You're kind of, I need everything.
But, you know, it's hard for me to buy these and tell you not to buy them. But these are our thoughts. I was disappointed. I was expecting this to blow my mind, and it was good. It wasn't great. So here's a hot take for you. I would rather have a Remus single barrel at $50 over either of these Remus Repeals at 100 plus.
So next on our list of brands here, we've got the 2XO. We obviously have bought several bottles of it. It's famous because of Dixon Dedman, and he does a great job.
If you watch any kind of whiskey tube at all, if you're in any kind of whiskey chats or whiskey forums, there's a whole lot of very opinionated comments out there about transparency in whiskey. If something is not transparent, it is crapped on by everybody in the whiskey world, regardless of how it tastes. Classic example, 13th Colony Double Oak last year. But for some reason, the whiskey world gives Dixon Dedman a pass. Maybe it's because they like him. He's friends with some of the bigger YouTube channels. He was the guy behind Kentucky Owl back when it was good. But his stuff has no transparency on it at all. You don't know where this is sourced. You don't know how it's finished. There's rumors that he puts little wood pucks in the barrels to do his second barreling or his double oak. I mean, there's just nothing on here that screams transparency.
Yeah, you don't, I mean, no age, no, I mean, I don't even know what state these were made in.
And on top of that lack of transparency, these 3 here are coming in at about $100 MSRP. This was his attempt at a shelfer coming in at about $50, $55. And I would say every one of them's overpriced.
Yeah, Gem of Kentucky. That one we had a sample of. It was quite good.
That's a $200 bottle.
We saw the bottle several times and we're like, it's not that good. And these are beautiful bottles. They look good on the shelf.
They taste good.
They taste good. They've got interesting-ish stories about why they have the name.
Yeah, I just find it incredibly hypocritical of the whiskey world to give these bottles a pass on transparency and basically blow 13th Colony up.
Yeah, and I mean, in general, the two of us don't really care about transparency. We care about flavor. And maybe why we're not as in love with this brand as other people is that we don't typically, I mean, especially me, I don't typically go for the toasted barreled stuff, and this stuff tastes like toasted. I mean, I don't know with 2XO, 2 times oak, what that means. If that means it's supposed to be double oaked or toasted or whatever, because it doesn't say.
It'd be great if it said on the label somewhere.
I just don't normally love the toasted barrels.
And I feel like these are all probably about, these three here are probably about $30 overpriced. This guy here is probably $15 overpriced. They're all good though. If you have them, you've tasted them, I'm sure you enjoy them as well and probably wish you would have spent less. So that's our thoughts on it.
Yeah, they kind of just sit on our shelf.
They're a little dusty.
A little dusty. So next on our list, if you can't see, is the Old Forester single barrels. So we are huge Brown-Forman fans. So we like Jack Daniels, we like Old Forester. That hits both of our palates well. And when we first started chasing these single barrel strengths were almost impossible to come by, and we loved them. So it was like, of course, we can't pass one up if we see it.
As you can tell.
We would see them listed in the stores in Oregon and be like, okay, well, I guess I got to go to Hillsboro. I got to go to Portland because they've got a single barrel. We got to get it. I mean, we like the flavor of them. They're good. They're very good.
Yeah, the problem with these Blue Label cask strength Old Forester single barrels, they got great flavor, but they all drink so hot.
Hotter than their proof. Like it's kind of burny.
Yeah, I mean, you put a drop of water in it, it tames it a little bit. But if there's a flaw with this Blue Label, it's that heat that these drink with. And I don't know if it's their heat cycled warehouses or something in their process, but these cask strengths come out super, super hot. Now, since we've collected these, I've probably passed on about 6 others recently in different places. There's 3 picks in Oregon right now, 2 in Portland and 1 a little further south, that are all gettable. There's like over 100 bottles at each location. I could go get them today if I wanted, and they're all coming in about $90.
Market's a little oversaturated with them at this moment. At least in our area, there's lots of stores that have these Blue Label Old Foresters, so they've been doing a lot of picks, it seems like.
Yeah. So what do you do if you're a huge Brown-Forman and specifically Old Forester fan and you want unique expressions that single barrels offer, but you don't want that heat? We're going to tell you. These right here.
Obviously, we're putting a dent in it. This Black Label, I feel like is in a whole different league than the Blue Label. And you know what? We didn't know because we thought this was like the top tier of the Old Forester until we found one of these and we're like, 100 proof, is it really gonna be better? Yeah, it's better.
It's so much better balanced. You get all of the goodness that comes out of a single barrel, but it's at 100 proof. And there's just something about that proof point. These are so, so amazing.
We have nothing bad to say about it. This is one that we for sure wouldn't pass up. And the price. Okay, these are like 50-ish, maybe a little, 50 something.
$50, $55.
While the Barrel strength's like 80. I get it.
These are more like 90. And on secondary, these are up to like 300. We've been fortunate enough to find a few locally, and they've been in that $50 to $55 range. And we've got the 2 backups. And again, Laura don't let me back whiskeys up. She actually bought one of these herself.
I did. I surprised him with it. I hope you can find one of these black labels, and if you do see it, don't pass it up because it's probably going to be gone the next time you get there.
Yeah, so a hyped bottle.
That we're going to continue hyping.
We had low expectations and we're just blown away.
Yeah.
See, these videos aren't all negative, guys.
Next on our list, we've got the Forgate brand. They come out with batches, a few a year, not a crazy amount. These bottles are expensive, like $200+ per bottle. So that alone makes it difficult for people to put it on the shelf.
Yes. And Forgate did come out with a shelfer, but I think it's over $100 by itself. So again, is it really a shelfer at over $100? Never tried it. I'm not going to spend $100 for it.
Exactly. I don't. If I'm going to spend the money, I don't want to have one of their like reject bottles. Is kind of what it feels like. I could be good. It probably is good.
It's probably amazing.
I just don't know.
Across the board, guys, every one of these bottles is amazing. I've got nothing bad to say about the whiskey in any of these bottles. If you're fortunate enough to find Forgate in your area and you can afford it, you will not go wrong with any batch. They're all delicious.
We like the whiskey.
If there was any of these bottles that was hyped up crazy high that I was expecting to be blown away by, and it let me down a little bit, I think it's this one right here. It's the Kelvin collaboration for, I know I'm going to catch some hell over that because the Kelvin collaborations are all just drooled over by Whiskey World. And I've heard so many people say Kelvin Collab 4 is their favorite or one of their favorites. It's good, guys. It really is. But that hype that I heard about this bottle and the expectation, the reality when I tasted it, I was a little let down.
Because of the hype, not because of the whiskey. The whiskey's good.
Yes.
It's just when people are really oh my gosh, this is amazing. Everyone's got a different palate. So it's going to hit us differently. And for some reason, that one hasn't been our favorite, but we're a fan of them. If it was, well, first of all, it's not available here. If it was available here and, we were like this month, we did better about really picking what bottles we spent our money on, then maybe we would purchase another one or two, yearly or something, like 1 or 2 bottles a year. Because they're good. It's just sometimes it's hard to stay in that whiskey budget, and they're expensive.
We're growing up, guys. We're learning to manage our money.
It may have taken a lot of years, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't really have anything bad to say about these, and the video is not really about talking trash about whiskey. It's the hype that we heard about these bottles and the reality of what we tasted when we got it home. And across the board, with the exception of this one, I would say they lived up to the hype. And this one for us, it just fell a little short of that hype because it was hyped so high, not because it's a bad whiskey. No regrets.
No regrets. What he said. Okay, the last one on our list is Blandon's.
I guess we're taters.
I mean, he's not wrong. A lot of people love to hate on this. Everyone has it on their shelf, though. That's the thing. It's a love-hate relationship that whiskey drinkers seem to have with Blandon's. I get it. The price in some places can be ridiculous. We have been fortunate.
Most of these we paid about $55 for. The price now is, it transitioned to like $60, and it might be like $64, $65 right now in Oregon.
We haven't bought one in a while.
Yeah, we collected all of the horses. We have the word spelled now, so I haven't bought any more.
And we bought some single barrels.
Yeah,
after that.
There's a couple picks on here.
Or
But
I guess they're all single barrels, some pigs.
I guarantee every one of you watching this at some point in your whiskey journey has got into a store and said, hey, you got any Blandons? And I feel like those store owners got tired of hearing that. And that's where the hate of this brand started. And then the secondary market pushed the prices north of $100, up to $150, $200. And then people spend that on it because everyone's got a Blanton's. They got to have a Blanton's, and they taste it. And it's like the expectation was this was going to be a $200 bottle, and it drinks like a $50, $60 bottle because that's what it is.
So I have heard some people, like Dave Vogelslang's probably going to watch this and comment that his two he's had tasted like mildew or moldy or something like that. And I mean, they're single barrels. I guess that's always a risk. We have been fortunate that the 4 that we have drank have been good.
I've not had a bad one yet. I'm a big fan of that 93 proof Mash Bill 2 Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, me too. We don't really have anything bad to say other than the price if you have to buy it on secondary. And that's just kind of the risk you have with buying anything on secondary. Blanton's for us has been a solid bottle, especially at the $55 range that we bought most of these at.
Yeah, you'll struggle to find a more hyped bottle of whiskey than Blanton's. I would say this is the crown jewel of hyped bottles.
It's also one that we love having on the shelf because anytime someone comes here and they aren't big whiskey drinkers, we say, whatever you want to drink, pick a bottle. And this one is the most common one that people pick. So
they look at that hand grenade shape with the horse and they're like, I want that one.
Yeah, and which is actually perfect for people that aren't into whiskey because it's low proof, it's sweet, and so it works.
So expectations versus reality. Leave us a comment. Tell us what bottle you bought on hype and what you really thought of it when you got it home and tasted it. We'd love to hear.
Whether positive or negative, either one, doesn't matter. We'd just love to hear your thoughts on it. So like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.